riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey. With me, as always, 4.3 to my 7.2, co-host extraordinaire, Timothy Richardson. Tim, how you doing, buddy?
Shocked and also horrified, Garrett.
That is not surprising. Tim, what's got you so horrified?
Well, Garrett, I just did not realize how unwoke both 2007 and 2008 were. We have, of course, been listening to the song that everyone has been talking about recently, the always relevant You're So Gay by Katy Perry, first released on the EP You're So Gay in 2007, and then on her sophomore album One of the Boys in 2008.
So, Tim, you're shocked? You're horrified? Do I even have to ask? Do you hate this song?
I'm not sure, Garrett. The problem is, I don't know if this is malicious. I don't know if she's just a moron. I listened to some of the other songs on this album for context, and I don't know if she's trying to be edgy or if she's just honestly unaware that other people are in fact people and not just some sort of Sims character that she's interacting with for her own amusement. What is a Katy Perry, Garrett?
Man, that's what we're going to get to the bottom of today, because this is our second visit to Katy Perry land. And I think the first time out, we might have been too kind. I might have been blinded by, let's be honest, she's a smoke show, but I don't know if I can excuse it this time around, Tim.
I just remember last time affixing fireworks to my breasts and setting your bathroom on fire, but no reason to drag up the past. Garrett, did you hate this song?
God, Tim, I completely forgot that Miss Katy Perry is, at least tangentially, and by that I mean legally, responsible for the arson of my bathroom.
Not arson, Garrett. Accident.
Malicious.
It was malicious, granted. It was a malicious fireworking, but it was an accident.
Yes, I hate this song. I am super curious to see how you aren't there yet. I'm all the way there. I'm going to get you there. Don't worry.
But Garrett, you have to admit, ideas presented in the song aside, this thing's fire.
It is not. Did you happen to listen to the remix?
I've listened to several versions. I'm not sure if I listened to the remix you're talking about.
On the EP, it's the second song that plays, and the remix is utterly insane. It gets rid of all of those icky verses or even coherent choruses and just breaks it down to the core of this song. So the song on the remix version, and I'm not ruining a thing here, folks, is literally gay, 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 boy, boy, gay, 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 boy, gay, 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 yo, gay boy. It's comically ridiculous. I can't speak for the gay community. If I were gay, I think I'd love that song. It seems to really be celebrating gay boys.
It sounds like you do love that song.
I might, Tim. But that's not the song we're talking about today. Had you ever heard this song before this week?
I don't think so. I had no idea this existed until we did the previous Katy Perry episode, now classic episode number 71. Go back and listen to that. But I've certainly never heard this pre-podcast, so I guess technically I'm some sort of gay virgin. Wait.
That doesn't sound right.
Yeah, but what about you, Garrett? Is this the first time you have ever recorded weird, possibly homophobic stereotypes in the official never-to-be-erased record and then spent a career courting the homosexual community in an attempt to make up for your sins and or profit from them? By that I mean, is this the first time you've heard this song?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Goodness, I think you might have just done our general thoughts, Tim. Yeah, I'd never heard this. I don't even know if I picked up on it in the dossier the first time through, but sometimes these things happen for a reason. Had we done this song first, would you have been more inclined to do the album or less?
Way more.
Yeah, you know what? I would too. It's best we didn't, though, because we would have been massively disappointed. If I recall, our biggest issue is when she was on, as you put it, fire, she's talking about seeing peacocks, your peacock, cock, your peacock, and that's great. That's the Katy Perry we're looking for. Wild stereotypes about entire groups of people, that's what we expect from Katy Perry, but not quiet ballads. So, glad we did it first, got it out of the way, so that we can focus just on the insanity that is this song. As is customary on the show, we can't get into the song itself without understanding a little bit about Miss Perry. So Tim, take us on a journey. Help us understand, who is Katy Perry and how did this song come to be?
Katy Perry, aka Kate Hudson, aka Jean-Benet Ramsey, all of whom are very much the same person, which is discussed in much greater detail in our previous Katy Perry episode, was born...
Also allegedly about that, probably.
Not allegedly. Was born in Santa Barbara, California to snake-handling, tongue-talking Pentecostals who then went on to take her on a weird multi-state tour of setting up churches and listening exclusively to gospel music, likely in an attempt to keep her moving so no one caught on that she was JonBenet Ramsey.
This feels legally dubious.
She was unable to eat Lucky Charms as a child because her mom thought the word luck was suspiciously close to the word Lucifer, and also all of her deviled eggs were really angeled eggs. They were a big deviled egg family, but they did not like that terminology.
Tim, I don't want to make wild accusations or generalize in any way. That's not what we do here. We're about nuance, specificity. But I have 2 data points about Miss Hudson's upbringing. That's her name, right?
Ramsey.
Thank you. Based on those 2 data points, parents are pretty crazy, right?
Yeah. This song might not be her fault, Garrett. You can hate her music, you can hate her parents, you can hate her weird public persona, but this might not technically be her fault. This might be the fault of the Pentecostal church.
Jesus, Tim, you might reverse get me there this week.
Ooh, I love doing that.
Oh, well, that's not how you do it. Continue.
She got a GED and left school at 15 to study opera in Santa Barbara, then went to Nashville to play gospel music. She released an album called Katy Perry that one of our listeners actually wrote in and said they had actually heard, despite only 200 copies being sold. I don't remember who that was. I apologize. She then moved to LA and changed her name from Kate Hudson to Katy Perry and recorded an album with Java Island Def Jam music group that was never released, and then she was dropped from that label. Then she got signed to Columbia, where she worked with Desmond Child and Max Martin, but she was also dropped from Columbia without a record being released.
Bit of a theme.
Yes. Then, however, she got her big secular break after one of her songs was featured in the Sisterhood of the Talking Pants. She was able
Traveling. You said talking. Sisterhood of the Talking Pants is what you said.
Well, you know what? There's a little insight into how we record. I make a lot of mistakes. We laugh, and then usually we edit it out. Not this time. She had a song in the Sisterhood of the Talking Pants. It's a better movie. Then she was featured on a Mick Jagger solo song in what has become a Why I Hate This Album studio's favorite on movie night, the movie Alfie. She did background vocals for a POD song. They're due an episode pretty soon. Then she went on to work at Capitol Records with Dr. Luke on the album One of the Boys, featuring the Song of the Week.
Easy, Tim. Don't love it when you bring him up.
I know, but she worked with him, Garrett.
I know, I'm just saying, let's stay focused on her. Don't linger.
But I've got some stuff to say about him.
Just ask yourself before you say it, is it relevant?
I'll leave it for now. That album also featured the song I Kissed a Girl, which the religious community was not a fan of, and also the LGBT community was not a fan of. They accused her of using bi curiosity to sell records, gay baiting.
Tim, we discussed gay baiting the first time around with Miss Perry, and I think that I may have come down in her defense to say that seems a little much to complain that she's just talking about an experience that she tried out of curiosity. It doesn't make her wrong, but I hadn't listened to that song then. In an effort to kind of understand if there was any sort of theme going on, I then listened to I Kissed a Girl after this song, and
gay baiting.
I think she's gay baiting.
It's especially confusing and difficult for Garrett to use that terminology because he uses the word baiting in place of masturbating.
It's just classier.
It is classier, but I'm just saying in this scenario it could be confusing.
Yeah, I forgot about baiting.
Bait that
what you
hook.
been doing? What?
Anyway, that album went on to sell 35,000 times as much as her gospel debut album. That's 7 million copies for those of you that don't want to do the math. In 2000,
I knew it.
In 2008, she did the Vans Warped Tour, as all artists on this show have done, and then she did an MTV Unplugged episode in which she played You're So Gay for some reason.
I think people really like it.
I think they did at the time. I think society has turned on this. She then did a cameo for Get Him to the Greek that did not make it into the final cut of the film, but she did meet Mr. Russell Brand. I think it's somewhat interesting that she met Mr. Brand after writing this song, because the song kind of sounds like it could be a critique of Mr. Brand, or at least his weird public appearance.
Yeah, I checked the timeline after I listened to the lyrics. If it's not about Russell Brand, which it isn't because she hadn't met him yet, she clearly has a type.
She went on to be a judge on American Idol and X Factor, then released Teenage Dream, which sold over 6 million copies, but more importantly was memorialized on this very show, arguably a bigger honor than any sort of platinum status. Then even better than that, Garrett, she got her own version of The Sims.
What?
The Sims,
What does
Garrett.
that mean?
There's a Sims that's her.
Only her?
I think that it is a representation of how she views life. I think it is very fitting. You play, presumably, as Miss Perry, and everyone around you is a computer simulation, and you can say and do whatever you want, and they're just there to react to you. They're not real people. They don't have souls. You can kill them if you want.
That sounds right. I was picturing like every character is Katy Perry.
Oh, that's a much better game.
Just a whole game of Katy's Perry.
She then married Russell Brand for 14 months until he broke up with her via text message. She dated John Mayer, got into a weird feud with Taylor Swift, and then released the album Prism in 2013, which sold over 4 million copies worldwide. Then, Garrett, she starred in Smurfs 2.
Started?
She was in Smurfs 2, but Garrett, I don't think you have the right to judge. That's 2 more Smurf movies than I've ever been in, and 1 more Smurf movie than you've ever been in.
That's true, but I starred in the one I was in.
That's fair. She was certified as the top digital artist ever at the time for 72 million digital sales in 2014. Probably been dethroned by now. She also did the 2015 NFL halftime show, which got over 120 million views worldwide.
I vaguely remember that.
You mentioned that you watched it on the previous episode.
Okay.
You seem to have a very clear memory of it at the time.
Well, it's been a while.
In 2017, she released Witness, and then she started dating Orlando Bloom and became an American Idol judge for the second time. There was the infamous lip assault on a young man where she forced a contestant to kiss her despite him pretty clearly saying he was a lip virgin and did not want to kiss her.
A virgin of the lips?
Yes. Then she launched a shoe line, and that is available at both Dillard's and Walmart.
Shoe line?
Garrett, you can't.
What?
We're selling these shoes on our website. You cannot be this dismissive of the concept.
Wait, we're selling shoes on our website?
I'm selling shoes on the website. In 2019, a jury awarded somebody named Flame $550,000 for Kate Hudson's unauthorized use of his song Joyful Noise as the background track for Dark Horse, but that was then overturned by a judge. Then Josh Kloss, who starred in the Teenage Dream music video, alleged that she had sexually misconducted herself around him, pulling down his pants and exposing his genitals to her male friends. Remember that little fact for the song? In slightly more recent news, she released a new single March 5th, 2020 called Never Worn White, an obvious lie, and revealed she is expecting a child with Orlando Bloom. And to date, the JonBenet Ramsey case remains open, and Katy Perry has somehow morphed into an LGBTQ icon of sorts.
Well, both of those are completely unrelated. Well, somehow the JonBenet thing is less ridiculous than the LGBTQ thing. Tim, we're all about forgiveness on this show, but there does seem to be a pattern.
I think she was trying to appeal to the LGBTQ community with this album. The I Kissed a Girl, the You're So Gay. These were playful nods and acknowledgments of the LGBT community in 2007. You have to remember, she had just gotten out of a cult. She's got a lot of stuff thrown at her, and she wanted to be edgy. She wanted to get her name out there, and this was kind of a miscalculation.
I think she's behind the times on this one. I think even by 07 and 08, most of the civilized world was like, hey, don't call stuff gay. That's insulting.
But again, raised in a cult.
Oh, sure. She's probably emotionally and intellectually actually well behind where she ought to have been at that point.
Well, I don't think we should say that.
What? I'm not saying she has a diminished capacity, although, and Tim, I'm not saying that. People are saying she has a vacant, doll-like gaze.
She does. I'm saying
We're not
that.
saying that.
I'm saying it.
Oh, you?
Yeah.
Okay, you
Yeah.
you are saying that.
Her
And I
eyes
guess
are like,
if
have you
you're
ever seen like a TV show that features like a shark? You know, and obviously you'd only see them in television shows, but you know the dead eyes of a shark, the fictional character shark?
Well, okay.
That's what her eyes look like, Garrett. There's nothing in there.
It's an odd 1,000-yard stare you'd expect from a hardened warrior.
Or a child soldier.
Child soldier, sure. But as far as I know, she is not high on a combination of black powder and cocaine.
Sure, but she was a soldier for Jesus as a child.
That can rob you of any and all personality. Oh, you know what it is, Tim? It is said that the eyes are the window to the soul, and she's given her soul to Christ. So
we're looking at Jesus' soul, who has replaced her soul with his soul, as my reading of the Bible suggests.
you might want to take a second pass on the soul part. I don't think that's quite how it works. So, Tim, you want to get into this song?
Yeah, let's hear a little bit of this masterpiece, and I have a request.
Okay.
I would like to hear some of the song, and then I would like to hear a little bit of the a cappella version of the song, because that exists, and it shouldn't.
It sure does.
Yeah. First, let's listen to the official version of this song.
Oh, so debonair, you pull them down, and there's really nothing there. I wish you would.
That was fire. Now
Disagree.
let's listen to the a cappella version.
I hope you hang yourself with your H&M scarf while jacking off listening to Mozart.
That was both fire and incredibly jarring. Why would you release an a cappella version specifically of this song? We'll get
she
into
didn't.
it.
Somebody did that.
I don't think so. The CD single, track number 7, is an a cappella version.
Wow. Okay. Why in the world would they do that?
Yeah, it's amazing.
All right. General thoughts on the song before we get into the lyrics, because that's the meat of this thing.
I don't really have a problem with the music. It's pop. There's guitar, there's piano, there's drum machines. There's a little
Don't forget about the trumpets.
Yes, well, there's piano in the beginning, there's some whistling, and then, yeah, the whistling turns into trumpets.
Yeah, as far as the music goes, we're listening to a Katy Perry pop song. Wasn't expecting much. Actually got more than I was anticipating.
Yeah, and she can sing on this song. We questioned whether or not she could sing the first go around. I think she can.
I remain unswayed one way or the other.
All right.
That acapella didn't help Tim.
Yeah, that's fair.
Also, spoiler alert, she bebops and scats on this song, and that's another point deducted.
That's 6 points added in my book.
I'm only just now realizing it, but remind me when we get there, because I think she might have stolen a famous hook for part of her scat.
Interesting.
This doesn't really sound like a typical Katy Perry song musically. I didn't remember as many of her songs having almost a hip-hop influence, which is, I guess, why they're calling it trip-hop, but most of her songs seemed like they were either pop ballad or just traditional pop song. This one, I got the impression that they're like, we don't really know what you're going to be yet, so they hadn't quite dialed it in. It wasn't quite as bubblegummy yet.
The album we listened to is very bubblegummy, but I do believe there were some beats on it.
You could be totally right.
Lastly, so this was written by Miss Ramsey as well as Greg Wells, producer and seller of 125 million albums and worker with 21 Pilots, Pink, Aerosmith, Weezer, Kid Cudi, Keith Urban, Tay-Sweet, and the Crash Test Dummies. He also helped produce the Greatest Showman soundtrack, which was the best-selling album of 2018 in both the US and UK.
Huh?
Yeah.
Jackman. So I'm sorry, did Katy Perry have a hand in authoring this?
She did, or she's at least credited with it, yes.
Okay.
This has her, sense of humor, if you can call it that. But again,
I can't.
It's possible that she came directly out of a Jesus camp, watched 15 straight hours of Family Guy, and then sat down to write this song with no other contact from the outside world. That could result in this song.
Sure. Her only frame of reference for pop culture is that time she saw American Pie on a flight.
Yes.
Sure, she didn't have the headphones, but she got the gist.
Yeah,
she
the guy
can
fucked
read
the
lips.
pie and...
Oh,
yeah.
no, that was edited out, Tim. It was on an airplane, for God's sake.
Blink-182 was in it briefly. They had a monkey.
Yes, there you go. Mm-hmm. They had a monkey?
I think so.
I think you're thinking of Friends.
I do mix them up, yes.
You ready to talk about these lyrics?
Oh, yeah.
Boy, Tim, I don't even know exactly how to use it, but I feel like a trigger warning is potentially necessary here.
Yeah, we don't give these often. Typically, we say after dark, after the fact. But yeah, maybe trigger warning on this whole song.
I'm never offended, ever. I've seen horrible things. You and I have
You've done
witnessed
horrible things.
Well, debatable. But this is in really bad taste.
It is. It keeps doubling down on the really bad taste, which is what I think is so impressive.
Now, Tim, I'm going to admit something here. As a teen, so let's say maybe not even teen, maybe like 11, 12, 13-year-old boy. I don't know what it was like in Saudi Arabia, but in Texas, to call something gay as a derogatory term was not unusual, right?
No, quite
Pretty
common.
common. Yeah. So by that logic, I think there's a very good chance that a 12-year-old me might have been like a huge Katy Perry fan had this come out then.
Now, I think a 12-year-old you would have absolutely been a huge Katy Perry fan, but I think you would have been watching the music videos with the sound off.
Yeah, you're probably right. Or on, it really wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah. So we start off in this song with this intro, your mind may refuse to believe, your mind may refuse to believe. And it's this very distorted vocals.
It's a sample from a horror movie, The Wizard of Gore.
The
Haven't
Wizard
had
of
one
Gore.
of those since... You making fun of me? You want a fresh one?
No.
Tim, I'm just kidding, but seriously, you making fun of me?
Please continue. I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding.
so
I'm just kidding. Buddy, I'm kidding. Relax.
I'm so scared.
Anyway, no, we haven't had one of these since Rob Zombie. It actually made me miss Rob Zombie, Tim. We may have to return to the land of the Dragula.
That album sucked, but it was far more fun than it had any right to be.
For sure. So the song continues, Tim, with the most possibly jarring opening lines we've had on any song, on any album, on any episode we've ever done. Is that fair?
I think you're 100% right.
I hope you hang yourself with your H&M scarf while jacking off listening to Mozart. I'm sorry. What is this song?
It does begin aggressively. In the version I listen to most often, jacking was replaced by a record scratch, which I personally find to be far more offensive than the words jacking off.
Why did you listen to the censored version?
I wasn't aware that there was an uncensored version until about halfway through the week.
Right.
Anyway, I can't remember the last time we began a song with somebody saying, I hope you kill yourself, or I hope you accidentally die while autoerotically asphyxiating yourself for the massive increase in pleasure attained by depriving your brain of oxygen during climax.
Let's maybe
Or
rein
so I've
in that
heard.
description.
Allegedly. Don't do it, though.
Don't do it. Don't carradine yourself. God. And also, didn't the lead singer of NXS die that way?
I don't know. Lots of people die that way, Garrett. In at least some versions, they record scratch out jacking off. That's way less offensive than telling somebody to kill themselves or saying you hope they kill themselves.
Somehow hearing the words jacking off is more damaging than hearing somebody tell someone to kill themselves.
Maybe this was a very influential song, Garrett. As you and I have discussed on numerous occasions, this can get you arrested and sentenced to 15
absolutely.
months in prison, because that happened to somebody in Massachusetts who was sentenced to 15 months in prison for manslaughter for encouraging her boyfriend to kill himself 7 years after the song came out. Granted, I think that sentence is bullshit, but still, society can't have been on board with this in 2007 or 2008.
There's no way. It's such an aggressive start. Now, if I didn't know the name of the song was You're So Gay, I'm not nearly as offended.
I think I'm equally as offended.
Oh, I'm definitely less offended because the second half of the line is listening to Mozart. So I'm like, okay, interesting. This is an odd characteristic that's very specific. Maybe there's a good reason she is wishing someone's death.
So you're saying you are more offended by these lines if this is a hate crime, whereas if it's just somebody wishing death upon another for musical reasons, you're fine with that. And I get that.
No. You're way wrong.
Then I don't get that. I take it back.
Good.
Because apparently what I've said is wrong.
Yes, you're close though. What I mean is, if it is a person or persons that I think it is legitimate to wish they die, I think it's a little much to ask that they die through autoerotic asphyxiation through a cheaply made scarf. But if
Hold on, before you disparage the scarf.
Did the H&M contract come through?
It did.
By poorly made scarf, what I mean is the all-new lightweight wool synthetic peasant's scarf is now available at H&M.
Yeah, you're basically in Paris.
That's probably their slogan. H&M, you're basically in Paris. Good catch, Tim. However, because I know this is a group of people that I don't believe should die, I'm already skeptical. I'm just saying, if I didn't think that she might be telling gay people to kill themselves, I wouldn't necessarily immediately dismiss the line.
That's fair. You wish the curse of immortality on the homosexual community. I'm on
There's
board.
worse things. You're welcome.
I hope you hang yourself with your H&M scarf while jacking off listening to Mozart. You bitch and moan about LA, wishing you were in the rain reading Hemingway. Now I'm kind of back on your side that this is okay.
Right. If you didn't know the name of the song, you'd be thinking she is telling someone to go kill themselves who might be a pretentious asshole.
It's not deep. It's not insightful. Sometimes the fish is just a fucking fish. Can't it be a story about a Cuban guy having a bad day? That's not Nobel Prize worthy.
What do you mean it's not about a fish? That guy fights that fish the whole book.
You're 100% right, Garrett. The fish is just a fish. After the fact, people put meaning on it and made it some sort of metaphor for, I don't know, freedom.
Did Hemingway shoot himself in a boat?
He shot himself in the face.
That's not funny. For some reason, I've always pictured him standing in a rowboat when he did it.
No, I think that's what he'd like you to believe.
She continues, you don't eat meat and drive electric cars. You're so indie rock, it's almost an art. You need SPF 45 just to stay alive. Okay, listing things that she finds undesirable.
And you're a very pale man, Garrett, so I assume that you were offended by the SPF reference.
I mean, I don't know if I would say I'm very pale.
You're an
I'm
Irishman.
Fair-skinned, yes. I got freckles, though.
Yeah, you're one big freckle at this point.
What's weird is this is sort of like the porcelain doll calling the toilet white. She is some sort of weird doll lady.
She is the real doll version of Zooey Deschanel.
So far, she's listed all these things she finds undesirable about somebody. Then she continues to.
Well, before we continue here, I think that if she were to honestly look back, she would probably classify most of those things as positives at this point.
Boy, that's a good point. Let's go tick by tick. You don't eat meat. It's not the worst choice in the world, but you're going to have to supplement because you're not going to get all the protein and vitamins you need.
You got to get B12 supplementation, but vegetarian and veganism is de rigueur, if you will.
I believe they say all's the rage.
Oh, I apologize for my pretentiousness. H&M scarves, we just talked about last week. You can be a man's man and wear a ton of scarves. Jeremy Renner proved that.
Absolutely. As long as you have your bow and arrow, nobody's going to say shit.
Yeah, that's true. That's a tip for everyone. If you carry around a bow and arrow, I think this might have been a tagline for a Nicolas Cage movie.
It was. The Weatherman.
Okay. Watch The
last
Weatherman.
words I said while eulogizing my still living father was like a rock. That movie's great.
LA seems to be back in fashion. Electric cars. People seem to be scared that the planet is going to be destroyed.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I don't know how many people, well, we all enjoy reading a good Hemingway in the rain, right? So let's get into the course. She's listed all these things that she hates about this person, and then she caps it all off with, you're so gay and you don't even like boys. No, you don't even like. No, you don't even like. No, you don't even like boys.
What a chorus.
I mean, immediately the first question is, does she mean, hey, Jonathan, you might be gay? Like, that's one thing. That's helping somebody to maybe live their truth. Just waiting for somebody to ask, give them permission to be honest with themselves and those around them.
Then that's definitely not what she's doing, because she's not trying to be helpful.
Well, I was going to say, or she is using the word gay as a derogatory slur to insinuate all of the things she just listed are both attributes of gay people, and that this gentleman is a gay person and they should be ashamed of it.
Yes, and also she's making the implication that she does not like gay people.
Of course. Well, by virtue of that. I mean, it's the transitive property of hate. You and I have discussed this for years. If she hates all of these things and then she says all of these things are attributes of this other thing, then she's got to hate by virtue of those individuals the whole.
Oh, yeah, you mean the Pythagorean theorem. Yes, I agree completely.
Yes, but with hate.
Right. The hate theorem of Pythagoras. And there's a very slim chance she's just talking about a lesbian, somebody that's gay but doesn't like boys.
Tim, you may have just cracked this thing wide open. Oh my God.
I mean,
Tim,
I don't think
she
that's the
might
case,
be
but-
in a relationship with a woman and just didn't realize it. Now, I gotta be fair, I don't want to make any generalizations here. I certainly don't want to fall into the traps and pitfalls that Miss Perry does, but it's not unreasonable, at least, to say she could be dating a woman who doesn't eat meat, she drives an electric car, enjoys indie rock, and wears sunscreen. If that's the case, if she is dating a lesbian woman, then this is almost a song of affection.
Yeah, but it's not. You can hear a little bit of hate in the voice when she says you're so gay.
Oh, it's antagonizing as shit.
Yeah. Whatever the case may be, this is fire and this is catchy. Garrett has given me a series of night slaps for singing this when we're in our couch beds at night. He's attempting to sleep. It's very dark. We can't see each other. And I just began belting out, "You're so gay and you don't even like boys." And all of a sudden, I'm being slapped by, I assumed at first a ghost, but no, it was Garrett.
It was definitely me after I announced, no, it is not a ghost. It's me. Shut up. But yes.
After I began screaming, "Oh God, Garrett, help me. A ghost is slapping me." I was very confused. I'm sorry.
I am not your salvation. I am your demise. I don't know how to make that clearer.
Oh, I want that on my tombstone.
She continues to berate this poor bastard when the song continues. "You're so sad. Maybe you should buy a Happy Meal. You're so skinny. You should really supersize the deal." What's her fucking problem? You're dating him.
Yeah, she's a dick.
And granted, the guy doesn't eat meat. Probably pretty skinny. I think she's kind of describing just a hipster.
Yes, I think that's accurate, or at least today's version of one. I want to compliment verse 2. This verse is significantly better than the first verse, if only because it doesn't begin by saying she hopes somebody dies autoerotically asphyxiating themselves.
It is a much better start to the stanza, and I'll even give her credit that she is, at least this time around, ascribing qualities to someone that could at least be ascribed to them. In the first verse, we get a list of things that I guess a gay person could be, but even if your intent was to list a bunch of stereotypes of the gay community, she just missed the boat.
Well, yeah. She doesn't know what gay people are. She's only gotten it from airplane movies
and propaganda.
Exactly. This continues. "Secretly, you're so amused that no one understands you." She's criticizing somebody for that faux intellectual brooding thing. And I get that. That's fine. And that's also Russell Brand.
Sure, but again, not Russell Brand. But it does point to the fact that she has a type.
"I'm so mean because I cannot get you out of my head. I'm so angry because you'd rather MySpace instead." Really dates itself right there.
And I checked. We were really winding down the MySpace in 2008.
Well, again, though, she was just finding out that it existed. She was just finding out that computers existed, Garrett.
Imagine that, being 17, 18, 19 years old and someone showing you your first computer, or potentially at least showing you that it was not a gateway to Satan's butthole.
I mean, it is, though.
But, I was going to say, good point, Tim. You beat me just barely. It is also that. It's a tool and a weapon.
I can't believe I fell in love with somebody that wears more makeup than me. I mean, Garrett, I don't wear makeup in my daily life, but every time we record, not every time, but a lot of the times we record, I've got a healthy amount of makeup on.
I was frankly impressed this week that maybe it's the quarantine. I don't know. Maybe you couldn't get the supplies. I expected the full Katy Perry treatment this week, but you really went kind of lo-fi, and I appreciate that.
I went tasteful with it.
That's a good way to put it. I mean, your eyes are still very red. You have not quite mastered mascara.
No, and I don't see myself learning it anytime soon, but...
Sure, if we could just reverse the order, maybe start outside and move in as opposed to the center out method you've been going with, I think what would be a good start. I'm getting a clear picture at this point, the person she's describing, and I don't think this is a gay person. I do think it is somebody in skinny jeans and a little bit of mascara who enjoys the indie scene, right?
Yeah.
And maybe they're on MySpace too much. So we're pretty much back to she is just using the word gay to mean you suck, right?
Yes, that's exactly what this is. "You're so gay and you don't even like boys." We get another chorus, and then, Garrett, we get what is referred to as the breakdown. Do you want to do this?
I sure do, Tim. I hope I can do it justice. Do-do-do-ba-ba-ba. Do-do-do-dat-dat-day.
You're so gay.
Yes, okay.
By far my favorite lyrics of the song. So she scats, but it's like she's doing a parody of scatting. She's doo-diddly-bop-doo-doo. It's what
Tim,
you would...
I'm going to fight you. This is scatting.
Right.
It's just shitty.
I guess it's not a parody. She's doing like such stereotypical scatting. Like if you were to write a Simpsons episode and you wanted to write in just a placeholder for scatting, this is what you would write.
I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree. I think my personal opinion is that all scatting sounds this stupid.
All right.
That's really where I want to come down, is that I don't care if you get me the best bebopping and scattingest fella in the world of all time. After about 8 seconds, I'm going to be like, please stop,
yes,
or I'm going to strike you.
Notably not the case with phlegm scatting. See episode number 1.
God, that was episode 1, wasn't it? We were so young.
J-Devil has made numerous appearances, at least in reference.
Oh, absolutely. He's almost the bedrock of the show. Of course, respect for women is the bedrock of the show, but he is a pillar.
Yep.
Now, I am sad to report, Tim, I initially thought that the bebopping and the scatting was potentially plagiarism. So the particular part that I'm referring to is the doo-doo-doo-bop-bop-bop. Very similar, not quite the same, very similar to a little theme song you may remember that ends with doo-doo-doo-bop-bop-bop. Whatever happened to predictability? Full House. It ends with a doo-doo-doo-bop-bop-bop.
That's true.
Very, very similar.
Yeah, but they didn't rhyme their scatting with You're So Gay.
No, because Full House was a tasteful show for families.
Yes. And Katy Perry is not for families.
She really isn't. And honestly, she's not for me.
Yeah, but she was for you.
Oh, wait. Yes. How do you mean?
You walk around like you're oh so debonair. You pull them down and there's really nothing there. I wish you would just be real with me.
Okay.
It's wiener size, right?
Is it size or existence? This is where I really put a lot of credence into the idea that she may be in a lesbian relationship and not realize it. Or there's a third option here. Wiener size is still fine, not a lady, but he's just not interested. She's like, oh, I'm going to take your underpants off and do a little. And he's like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to get on MySpace. Okay. Have you seen me? Like Katy fucking Perry.
I could let this go a lot easier if she did not then allegedly, of course, pants a guy, presumably in an attempt to embarrass him. But it seems like she's bragging about future alleged sexual assault.
She was calling her shot?
Yeah, she was Babe Ruth in this thing.
Maybe she was just secretly bragging about a weird obsession. Maybe that's how she gets there, Tim. She's got to rip those pants down, but it's got to be a stranger.
In front of her
or
male
somebody
friends.
that fights her.
Okay.
What? I don't know. He didn't seem to be into it.
No, he's not.
So she continues to paint the same picture, right? Somebody who's a bit of a snob, sort of pretentious, almost a Frasier type. After the second listen, Tim, I pretty much pictured Kelsey Grammer through this whole song.
Yeah, and there's no better way to get under Kelsey Grammer's skin than just to yank those pants down in public. He hates it.
Come now,
hates
Miles. I doubt that. Sorry, I'm confusing Frasier, the character, with Kelsey Grammer, the man. The Kells is down to party.
Oh, yeah. Cocaine and whatnot?
Allegedly. Flipping cars and whatnot? Allegedly. Falling off of stages comically? Nope, we can have video proof of that one.
Yeah, still allegedly, though.
Sure. Kells likes to party. Frasier, a little uptight.
Yeah, but he still likes to party. It's just with his brother and sherry.
Sherry.
Don't drink sherry. Put that on your list with don't Google Mr. Hands. It's not good.
Yeah, you might as well just be drinking Robitussin. Sherry is the Mr. Hands of the drink world. So we get the chorus
2 more times.
Back to back, right?
Yeah.
And then we end with, if anybody was worried or felt like this song wasn't quite childish enough or, dare I say, insensitive, Tim? Do I go that far?
I don't think so. I think this, we're still
stupid.
There it is.
Don't worry. The very last version of the chorus has your traditional, you're so gay and you don't even like boys. No, you don't even like penis. Was this written by a 14-year-old boy?
Maybe. I don't know how old Greg Wells is.
Maybe Greg Wells is a phenom child songwriter.
Well, if he is a child songwriter, he is not a phenom.
I'm sure he made a couple of bucks off this. Does Frasier bebop and scat on the theme song to Frasier?
Yes, he does.
What is the deal with that this week? It's all connected and I can't quite figure out how.
It's all nonsense.
Maybe she was watching Frasier on mute when she wrote this song. Hashtag Frasier on mute.
Everyone has the exact same process as you. Watching things on mute and writing notes, lyrics, bits.
Those of us in the songwriting community do anyway. It's the best way for inspiration.
Yep.
Anyway, that gets us to the end of the song, Tim, and normally that's where we'd call it quits and move on, but not this week. Luckily, there's a music video.
I wouldn't say luckily, but there is a music video.
I am super confused, and let me start with a very simple question. Why does this exist?
Again, I don't know, because this can't have been their single. You shouldn't have made a music video for this.
You would think after somebody heard the song, nobody would put any effort into a music video. Why bother? But no, they bothered, and they bothered a lot.
This starts off with Katy, who again looks like a soulless Zooey Deschanel with shark eyes, playing a guitar, sitting in an open green field while cartoon clouds pass behind her.
It's an excellent summary, Tim, and I don't want to be rude. Far be it from me to insult anybody. It's just not really in my nature. Other people would like me to say that she has the vacant look on her face as she sings, as though she doesn't understand the language she's speaking.
I think that's accurate.
She could have sang this exact song in Vietnamese, and I think you would still have that blank look, almost like there's phonetic cards just off screen to help her figure out how to form the words in a convincing manner. Is Katy Perry an alien?
Maybe. She does seem to understand parts of it because she has these little facial expressions, especially on the "you're so gay" lines, this kind of sardonic smile where you can tell she thinks she's being real clever and people are just going to eat this shit up.
Yeah, I don't know if somebody forgot to explain it to her or she just took it too much to heart, but she must have heard the expression tongue-in-cheek. and then she quite literally seems to be sticking her tongue into her cheek and taking a bit of a bite. That doesn't shock me because, as we've mentioned, she may or may not, at the time of this recording, be an emotional and intellectual simpleton. Your words, not mine.
Society's words.
Good
Allegedly.
correction. Right. The video continues from this weird Paper Mario background to a Ken and Barbie situation. So the whole song is acted out using a Ken and Barbie doll a la Team America World Police.
Not as good as Team America World Police, though it should be noted.
Correct, but not as shitty as it should be for as stupid as this song is. They have so many tiny props. Tiny boomboxes, tiny computers. They made a tiny skateboard. They even put little tiny star tattoos on the shoulders of Ken. That's fucking great. Did you see the Pete Wentz call out?
No.
There's a poster on the wall of Ken's bedroom by an artist called Pierre Wurtz.
Yes, I did see that. I did not pick up that was a Pete Wentz, though.
He is a androgynous mascara-wearing lead singer of an indie rock band, so kind of adds up.
Yeah, they're putting on makeup, driving around in cars, cutting and dyeing their hair, drinking, getting upset at the lack of Ken doll genitalia, which seems to ruin fellatio.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be like real clear, folks. They act out the song. So you literally see a Ken doll with his little plastic Ken doll hand holding a little mascara, put mascara on his stupid Ken doll face. They made this. Time was spent by adults to do this. And then you get to the titular part, Tim, the assault, where she yanks down the pants of Ken, and this is where the joke pays off, right? Because you get the smooth bulge. I was shocked, not having grown up playing with dolls. I knew it was smooth. Obviously, there's no dick on a Ken doll. That'd be traumatic and weird. Maybe. You know, is it weirder to have a tiny penis on that doll or to have absolutely nothing?
I'll say the weirdest thing is if it has a giant penis.
Sure, absolutely. Especially if it's like a completely different material than the rest of the body.
Oh, yeah, because it's a flaccid penis. These are for children, for God's sakes.
Yeah, it's not going to be erect. Ugh. Anyway, what shocked me about this scene was that Ken doesn't have just a smooth genital patch. He's got a proportionate and confident smooth bulge. Did you notice that?
Oh, yeah, Garrett, I noticed.
Okay, not going to dwell on that. Like a mini mannequin.
What?
I always just assumed it was super smooth. So I kind of wonder, what's the thinking there? Are the Mattel people going, okay, little girls probably know that there's like something there, so we can't have like it smooth. That's for Barbie smooth. We got to give Ken like a differentiator, but like we can't have a dick. So they have like a contoured package.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Just make a tiny penis.
God, you want that doll dick.
I mean, I guess that's pretty fucked up too. I don't know what's worse. Listeners, write in. What's weirder, the weird contoured bulge or like a tiny Ken dick?
Don't
Tasteful.
write in. Don't draw us pictures.
Nobody said pictures, you asshole.
That's what people do. They write songs and they draw pictures. Ruin my day.
Write fan fiction.
Ugh.
Okay, so that's kind of the song. How did this song do?
I'm not really sure. The EP didn't sell well. The album, One of the Boys, sold over 7 million copies. So,
Jesus.
at the very least, a ton of people have heard this song.
I mean, she played it pretty regularly when she was touring.
Yeah, and the official music video has 63 million views on the YouTubes. So, people are into this.
It enrages me that you and I represent at least, 3,000 of those views?
I only watched it 16 times, so...
Oh.
Yeah, probably about 3,000, you freak.
What did people think of it?
On Amazon, there were 2 versions of this. Each one had 7 reviews. One of them was 4.5 out of 5 stars. The other was 3.8 out of 5 stars. So if you average that together, it's 4 point something. Anyway.
Great numbers.
Nikki Aronson titled her review, "Wow." And this was before the album ever came out, because this was in 2007. This has to be one of the best artists I've heard in a long time. This is the first time I have felt compelled to purchase a digital recording. Thank you, Perez Hilton, for introducing me to Katy Perry. 5 out of 5 stars.
Oh, weird.
Yep.
Whatever happened to Perez Hilton?
H&M scarf. This next one, this is from Horatio Villarreal. It's called Social Commentary on Gender Roles in Society, ? And this is by somebody that did not do as much research as we did. You're So Gay is a novelty song about her ex-husband Russell Brand and how he was so, quote-unquote, gay. She cites many examples of how he is so gay, but he doesn't even like boys. For instance, I can't believe I fell in love with somebody that wears more makeup than me. The song plays on the stereotypes that most of us have about gay people. The song is supposed to be humorous and her lyrics are very witty. It is also a jab at hipster guys. 5 out of 5 stars. Finally here, Jack titled the review, You're So Sad, Maybe You Should Buy a Happy Meal. Oh wow, this song is just, it makes me laugh. Those of you who find offense to this song, you are simply misunderstanding her. She's not personally attacking anyone or anyone's sexuality. This is simply a vent song. That means, children, that she was not in a good mood and just wrote it to make her feel better and alleviate some aching. That of which one such person may do after being dumped. None of that makes sense, by the way. Okay. I love this song. It is witty, and like a good movie, you quote it. Watch the music video sometimes. I get a kick out of that every time. Kudos, Katy Perry, 5 out of 5 stars. This is somebody that's going around quoting this song.
What part?
You're so gay, presumably?
I hope you die. Hope you choked to
Yes.
death on an H&M scarf while jacking off to Mozart. I'm sorry. I thought you said medium.
Don't say that to your mother.
I will be nice to her when she remembers to use fabric softener. Weird reviews, Tim. I don't know how I feel
there were
about
very
those.
few to choose from.
Who's this for?
Given that it's 2020, nobody.
Correct answer. Nobody wants to hear this anymore. Except, folks, I do invite you, go check out that weird remix version. When she takes out all the parts that make it sound as though she's insulting him for potentially being gay, it's just much dancier. That brings us to final thoughts, Tim. I feel as though we've only played in the shallow end of the pool this week. I don't know that we got down to the nut meat of the song. But what have we not said about it?
I suspect this is just a bad attempt to be edgy that has aged very poorly. The message of the song seems to be that she doesn't like a straight guy because he has too much in common with a gay guy, which she apparently is not a fan of. But
she's super attracted to, apparently.
Right. And this is why on this show we make such a huge attempt to say only very middle of the road things never offend anyone, so that 12 to 13 years from now, no one will be able to throw any stones at anything we say.
I think we're virtually unimpeachable in the statements and remarks we've made thus far.
Yes, if any of us is impeachable, it is Garrett. I am definitely unimpeachable, and I suspect, though, that he's probably pretty close too. Mostly, though, I'm not mad, Katie. I'm just disappointed. You're better than this.
I don't know that she is, Tim.
I think
this
she
might be
is.
exactly what she is.
Yeah.
A soulless puppet of a human being.
Did you hate this song, Garrett?
Yes. Yes, I did. Am I being unfair, Tim? She's young. It's dumb.
Yeah, she was just out of a cult.
She'd seen American Pie on an airplane, and she didn't have the headphones, and of course it was wildly censored, so she may have thought that she was doing something hilarious here. No, I hate it. I hate it. It's dumb. They made a music video that only works to spread this virus. I do not care for this song. What about you, Tim? Do you hate this song?
I think I hate some of the ideas expressed in this song.
Well, sure. Of course you do.
I don't think she takes them seriously, but they're still really jarring to hear, especially if you take all the music out and it's just her singing this. I don't think I hate it, though.
Interesting. Maybe I'm being too harsh.
You don't have to explain why you hate it, Garrett. You're right to hate it.
You know, I don't want to overcommit here, Tim, but I feel like had she listed things that you could firmly, not even stereotypes, you could firmly confirm about the gay community, maybe I wouldn't hate it.
So if the song had have been, you're
factual.
never interested in banging me because you're always banging somebody of the same gender as you are.
Yeah, but maybe use some metaphors.
Well, maybe that's what she did, Garrett.
Always hunting for a young buck when you got that beaver safe at home. I don't know. Something. I'm not a songwriter.
After dark. Oh my God.
Is it?
You can't say beaver.
Oh, wait.
Buck's fine.
Can't?
Yeah, can't. CBS will not allow that.
Tim, we are not angling for a CBS deal. That is off the table.
I don't think I hate this song, Garrett. I should hate it. I think this might be the only song I can dance to well.
Interesting.
So that might be swaying me a little bit as well. But yeah.
I'd like to see that dance.
Hold on.
That's not bad. It's pretty good. It's not great. I wouldn't do it in front of anybody.
Hey, hold on. That's not true. Garrett, it's all in the hips. You gotta work the hips.
Okay, hold on. Let me step back, really give you some room to do it. All right, hold on. All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
You know what? Folks, this is a great dance. I hope we release that on Instagram. I hate it. You don't hate it. That's fair. But it does bring us to listener mail. You want to go first this week, or would you like me to?
You go first.
Alrighty. My email is from Preston. Preston writes, Dear Hall & Oates, I'm excited already.
Well, hold on. Which one of us is Hall and which one is Oates?
I'm probably Daryl Hall, if I had to guess.
Oh, perfect, because I wanted to be Oates. Go on.
Preston writes, Dear Hall & Oates, sorry for this terribly late piece of intel, but I think you will find it helpful and interesting. In the classic Katy Perry episode, that's what episode number, Tim?
71.
71, folks. Go back and listen to the classic Katy Perry episode number 71. G. Garrett mentions that Miss Perry and her teacher ran away to a Universal Studios Orlando instead of California and camped out outside of Harry Potter World. I actually went to high school right across the street from Universal and just wanted to verify this theory a bit. It wasn't uncommon, especially during spring break and the weeks leading up to the summer, for many unsolicited visitors to park their vans and Jeeps along the road that separated the school and the theme park and wait for them to open. Tim, could you imagine going to school across the street from a theme park?
Could you imagine going to school in Florida?
Oh, God.
Yep.
He continues. One of the art rooms had big windows and easy access to the field that ran along this road. The art teacher would promise us extra credit if we could drive those people out of the area by any means necessary. So us students would gang up with...
Hold on. That is an irresponsible teacher.
Well, let me finish. So us students would gang up with cans of spray paint and hundreds of art utensils and just start vandalizing cars and throwing stuff at them till they drove off angrily. I can't speak as to whether or not any of the couples in there were a barely legal Katy Perry and her dance instructor, but I'm going to guess it's a hard no. That's weird. I thought for sure he was going to say probably. In any event, he goes on, I also don't know if the album had a big impact on the amount of people who started doing this, as I started school there a couple years after the album was released, but I could ask my sister who attended before it came out. The art teacher subsequently was fired a few years later for, can you guess, Tim?
Taking a student to Universal Studios?
Probably because she was fucking him.
Oh.
Yeah, she got fired for sleeping with a student.
Oh, it's a she.
Oh, you know what? I don't know. I shouldn't say.
You always assume. I'm going to assume the opposite.
That it's a
male teacher
lady?
Bringing a Katy Perry-esque student to Orlando, which is just right across the street.
Oof. I hope not. Anyway, Preston continues. Anyways, thanks for being a great and mostly funny distraction. Preston, you dick. Anyways, thanks for being a great and in parentheses, mostly funny distraction. What the fuck, man? I can't really get past this. What do you mean, mostly? You put out a show every fucking... Yep, Preston, I'm sorry.
I'm
You
going to
wrote a lovely
Florida,
email.
Garrett. I know you said we'd never go, but we're going to go to Universal Studios. We're going to go right across the street, and we're going to find this guy.
You want to Jay and Silent Bob this thing? Road trip it? Knock on his front door? I don't know. The rest of the email is pretty complimentary.
Okay.
Well, let's continue. In these
What
crazy...
we can do, Garrett, we mostly won't harass him.
Maybe take him to lunch at Bennigan's, but then, like, not pay for his.
Yeah, or like we'll take him to lunch, but he has to drive, and then while we're eating lunch, one of us goes to the bathroom, but really we're out spray painting his car.
Ooh, even better. I'll pull the old, oh shit, I left my phone in the car. Can I borrow your keys? Then about, 30 seconds later, you go to the bathroom. Then we leave that asshole with the bill at Chili's, and we take his car.
We're at Chili's now.
Yeah, well, Bennigan's is closed.
Oh, that's true.
Anyway, he wraps up the email by saying, I'm lucky enough to still be working, but I'm spending most of my time on the road, so I find myself re-listening to episodes I've already heard a dozen times. Wow. And I'm somehow still picking up on jokes I've missed and tying the mental string on the overarching plot of how you two are the same all-powerful, godlike being known as Tarot. Boy, Preston, we might not be visiting you. Well, actually, we might have to visit him for a completely different reason. He seems to know too much. At the bottom of this email, I put a list of recommendations I did not include for this. Love, Preston, middle initial, redacted, last name.
All right.
I'm mostly okay with that email. I am compelled, Tim, to get in an RV, drive across the country, go to our least, well, I don't know if that's true. I was going to say our least favorite state. That might not be true. It was on the banned list. That's all that really matters. And you know the consequences of tearing up that contract and going to Florida.
Yeah, that's true.
We swore we wouldn't. And if we break that bond, you know what'll happen.
Well, mostly.
Sure, there's an element of surprise in every legal contract.
Yep.
Anyway, what email you got this week?
I've got something from Rich. He refers to it as a brief note regarding quote-unquote sharks. Hello. Tim's bold public stance on the tiresome shark charade brought back some memories. On a family trip to Florida, we went to, I think, Universal Studios. I was about 8 years old at the time, so recollection is somewhat fuzzy. What I could never forget is the Jaws ride, which I embarked on with so much enthusiasm under the assumption that it was a pleasant boat trip around a lake. Really, no one told me it was anything but this. Now you can imagine the visceral shock when this pleasant jaunt along the water was interrupted not only by fire, but then a belligerent quote-unquote shark, evidently attempting to capsize us for sustenance. How I cried. I had seen the Jaws movie, so the propaganda was already entrenched in my young mind. Rational thought regarding this fictional creature was not an option. When its hideous face was creeping up the side of the boat, I was completely terrified, and when the ride was over, I ran off so mindlessly I forgot my Mickey Mouse hat. All thanks to quote-unquote sharks.
He was wearing a Mickey Mouse hat at a Universal Studios. This story does not add up.
No, it just seems like he was kind of a dick as a child. The psychoanalysis has lasted many years since, but I am now in a position to where I could embark on the same ride if it hadn't been shut down, good riddance, with no fear at all. Guess why? Because none of it was real. I came to learn that this quote-unquote shark was in fact just some mechanical rubbery contraption animated by levers and switches. By extrapolation, I came to realize the same is true of all these alleged sea-dwelling monsters, which I now safely file under the same cabinet as quote-unquote birds and self-pollinating apple trees. And now this is where I really have to... I have to pull back a little bit.
Birds and self-pollinating apple trees.
I don't know what self-pollinating apple trees are, but birds
are real.
I mean, bats at least.
Hold on. I'm really tired of having to defend the existence of sharks, but that's a fight I'm just tired of fighting. I have to put my foot down if you're going to even waffle on the idea that birds aren't real.
He said it so confidently. Anyway, it continues.
Self-pollinating apple trees, that sounds like bullshit.
It continues. I no longer fear the depths. As an empiricist like Tim, I accept only what my eyes show to me, and so far, the only shark I've seen has been well documented as fake. Granted, I'm from the UK, and the propaganda isn't pushed so brazenly here, except for the comical basking shark. Seriously, Google this farce. From memory, I can also confirm that in Florida, frogs and thunderstorms are most certainly real, neither of which are exclusively witnessed in man-made entertainment parks, but in fact can be found in nature. Reflecting on that day was once wholly traumatic, but now I just laugh at how brazenly they tried to pull the wool over my eyes. Thanks for the memories, chaps. Very good podcast, by the way. Take care.
That brings us to music news news of the weird. Tim, do you want to kick things off, or do you want me to?
I think I probably have more than you, so I probably should kick it off. In Sufjan Stevens is either a quitter or a tease news this week. Sufjan Stevens never completed his 50 States, 50 Albums projects, only releasing Michigan in 2003 and Illinois in 2005. However, Joey Cliff, Native American comedian, comedy writer, and podcast ruiner, more on that in a minute, has taken up the mantle and got local musicians to finish the rest of it, as well as doing Puerto Rico and DC. American Samoa can go fuck itself yet again, I guess. Anywho,
Also Guam.
Oh, that's true. 25 of the albums are now available on SoundCloud already and features songs about Stephen King having the same laundromat as Robert Durst and Houston's own Mattress Mac, and much more. But back to Joey Cliff. If anyone wants to hear the most awkward podcast episode you will ever encounter, he was invited on an episode of a show called How Did This Get Played, a podcast about bad video games, on a Thanksgiving episode about a game where you play as General Custer attempting to rape a Native American woman because he is Native American, and it just gets more uncomfortable as he flexes all of his woke muscles to make those very nice, well-meaning people feel bad about themselves. If you like cringe, give it a listen.
Ugh.
So
How did you find that? You're just Googling uncomfortable?
Native American podcast disasters.
That's so niche.
Garrett, what do you got?
Well, Tim, according to a report from TMZ on April 20th, sources say our good friend 6699 has not learned a goddamn thing. He is out there purchasing a fleet of vehicles. He bought a Lamborghini Aventador, a McLaren, a Rolls-Royce, a Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, and a Range Rover. He also bought 4 watches and a $300,000 chain shaped like, you won't believe it, Tim, a shark. Now, I don't want to cast aspersions, but I think he might be taunting you.
He might be.
Of course, he listens to the show after we reached out to his people to give him safe ward. Well, technically to adopt him, but to keep him safe because, as we mentioned, he has been so incredibly willing to cooperate with federal authorities in order to reduce his sentence. Their words, not ours. But due to the fact that there is a global pandemic, we were not certified to house him given that he had been in Gen Pop. So, didn't work out. In any event, Tim, I feel like he's headed right back to where he was less than a year ago.
Well, he's headed right back to music. Did you hear that he asked the judge if it was okay for him to begin filming music videos in his backyard?
I had no idea. Now, well, that raises an interesting question. What exactly is he asking permission for? To go into his backyard?
Well, no. You see, Garrett, he is on parole, and his music videos require large amounts of handguns.
Okay.
He's probably not allowed to have handguns, I would assume.
He's probably requesting to leverage artistic license, which will unfortunately require him to handle handguns, possibly drugs, and of course, sex with women.
Yeah, probably do a bunch of drugs on camera.
Well, Tim.
Fake drugs.
We can't know it. Well, Tim. Wow, no, I guess that's what he's asking to do. Is he asking to have friends over? What exactly is his life?
And it's pretty funny to point a gun at Fred Durst news today. Eddie Van Halen once jammed with Limp Bizkit. In the 2000s, Wes Borland had quit the Bizkit, and Edward met Frederick at a party, and a record label suit suggested they record something together. Frederick allegedly responded, "That would be hilarious. The greatest guitar player ever plays with the worst band ever." And so Edward agreed. They jammed, but Eddie left when people started smoking pot because he's a lame square, and
what a square.
Unfortunately left all his equipment behind. He repeatedly tried to call Fred Durst, had no luck getting his stuff back, so he drove what was described in the article as an assault vehicle he bought at a military auction with a gun mount on the back into Beverly Hills, parked on Fred Durst's front lawn, got out shirtless in combat boots, and then held a gun to Fred's head while an employee got all of his guitars and amps. All the while, Edward casually smoked a cigarette and held his pistol to, and I'm quoting Eddie here, "that stupid fucking red hat of his."
Wow. I hope the audience just went on the ride I did. I might really like Eddie Van Halen. I mean, don't point a gun at anybody. That's not cool at all. But this happened. You can't change the past.
If you have to point a gun at somebody.
First, make sure it's unloaded and get proper training and make sure that you know what you're doing with gun safety.
Yep. Then call Fred Durst.
If you have, let's just leave it there. Wow.
All right, Garrett, what you got?
It's an evolving tale that began in 2015. A San Diego prog rock metal act known as Corellia crowdfunded over $33,000 to record their debut album. A year later, however, no album had surfaced and the band had stopped providing updates. So 4 years go by and there's no change, no word, nobody knows what happened to the $33,000. Well, then a person posts the very first update in 4 years on the Corellia Facebook page, and that starts a fire on the internet. Instantly, everyone's reminded of how pissed off they are that they contributed to this stupid band and never even got a fucking album. Well, Tim, it turns out the guy that posted, not even associated with the band, some other guy that got the credentials or was on their computer. However, everybody got so stirred up and pissed off again that it basically guilted the band into making a public statement and confessing that they never made the album. Everything went to total shit. They did spend a good portion of it, and they have no idea how they're going to get it back to the rest of you. We're sorry.
Good for them.
Yeah, fun little tale that lasted 5 years. Uncovered by some guy who was probably on a friend's computer and was like, this'll be funny. Remember your band Corellia? What do you got, Tim?
Chris Brown.
Oh, boy.
Not that one. Chris Taylor Brown, the lead singer of the band Trapped, recently went insane and decided to start engaging with the Twitter haters.
Oh, no.
All of them. Starting on March 16th, he posted 900 tweets in 48 hours, mostly defending Trump and making some racial slurs, I guess.
This is an adult in the middle of a manic episode, right? Think about like 2007. If you could have convinced people even then that some guy is going to spend 48 hours writing a Stephen King-length novel with his thumbs to strangers who disagree with him about who he voted for, I'd be like, no, we're not going to devolve that much in the next decade. But here we are. Who cares?
Let me read a couple. Some ethnicities should not perform trap music and have guns and drugs in their videos. I bet you have rich parents. I will dig it all up and expose your ass. Rich Jew trying to act tough? Fuck you. I have fucking militia behind me.
Okay, I don't know this guy. Is he white or black?
I think he's white.
That's going to make a big difference.
He doesn't like Jews, I think is the point for that.
That's true. Doesn't really matter what color you are if you're stating that you don't like Jews.
Sure. But I think we can all agree that he truly is the worst Chris Brown. What else do you have for us today?
Well, I've got some positive news, Tim, but it may get sinister under the bridge. Recently, Eminem, aka Bruce, donated delicious mom spaghetti. Now that's in quotes here. Delicious mom spaghetti to team members in the Henry Ford Health System, according to a tweet this Tuesday, the week we are recording. That's great news, right? What a nice thing for M to have done. We appreciate it, Bruce. We'll enjoy that delicious mom's spaghetti. Now then you might be wondering, why is it called that? Well, Tim, you may recall from Lose Yourself, he raps, his palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms and heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already, mom's spaghetti. So he's named the spaghetti after the vomit line. I gotta tell you, it's hard for me to resist the urge to, his palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, there's vomit on his sweater already, mom's spaghetti. Every single song is like he's trying to imitate a dirt bike. I at least deeply respect his lyricism now that we've done all the littles.
Yeah, that's true.
The story right then and there would be good enough, but here's the thing. The food was not clearly purchased at a store. It had the Slim Shady logo and Mom's Spaghetti on it. Did Slim Shady make this spaghetti, Tim?
Maybe his mother made it.
How amazing is it to think of him like full apron with his weird dark beard now, that pasta boiling, getting my sauce homemade, ain't spoiling. Venom. Tim, what else you got?
And our good friend Nolan took a break from his grueling schedule of drawing Garrett and I naked or making out or whatever long enough to send us a news article. Lil Pump will be releasing a rock album, Garrett.
I'm so angry and excited. Do we have a word for that? Anxited?
Excree.
I am incredibly excree because why?
Well, he said, y'all thought I quit, bitch, I'm back. That is a direct quote about what will likely become known as a career misstep.
Yeah, the part that makes me angry is We have to do this. The part that makes me excited is we get to do this. This is going to be real bad, real weird. Now, Tim, do you think it's going to be a rock album in which he raps the lyrics, or do you think he's going to attempt to rock sing?
Oh, God, I hope the second. What else you got for us?
Did you happen to see the Rolling Stones performing You Can't Always Get What You Want in the Four Windows over a teleconference?
I did.
Okay. I'm not certainly the first one to bring it up, and it's not for our listeners. This is just for you and I because we didn't talk about it. What in the flaming fuck is Charlie Watts doing?
I think he's playing air drums.
That is a fucking disgrace. Explain it. Explain why. Either he's not there, give him a tambourine.
Hold on. Mick Jagger is the tambourine man. He's playing guitar in this song. He's not going to let somebody else tambourine.
I think it's fair in the absence of drums to give him a mini percussion instrument.
It's fair, but Mick Jagger's not about what's fair.
No, mate, I don't want you to have any tambourine because later if somebody's like, oh, I really like Charlie's tambourine, then I'm going to be jealous and I'm going to be not wanting to talk to you anymore. Go on to 7.
Yeah.
I guess I could air drum. There you go, right. You can have a bit of an air drum. All right. What else you got, Tim?
My last story, in What's Don McLean Been Saying Recently news. Don McLean does not like current music. He's quoted as saying, "It doesn't exist as far as I can see. Music is not on the radio. There's some form of music-like sound, but it's not music to me. There was a show called Name That Tune back in the 1950s, and by the fourth note, they would say, oh, that's Strangers in the Night. There's nothing on the radio that you can name in 20 notes almost." He then went on to add, "We have a kind of nihilistic society now. No one believes in anything. No one likes anything. No one has any respect for anything. The music shows that." He also stated music is just notes repeated over and over again with a chorus that's done over and over until it's drummed into your head or it makes you want to hang yourself. Notably, Mr. McLean's most enduring work is a song that repeats the chorus 7 times.
That song is like an hour and a half. One day we're going to do it, and I think it's going to be longer than the Corey Feldman episode. We should perform it.
Oh, yeah, we'll get Madonna to sing.
Will we?
She loves singing that song.
She does. I don't think he knows about the internet. I think he's like, why are people just not listening to the radio? Well, there's the internet. The what? Tim, my last story this week is a positive one and about somebody that I don't like to give any sort of praise to because, well, he's a megalomaniac psycho that heaps unearned praise on himself by the minute. But I appreciate when somebody's doing something and we should celebrate that. So, Kanye West has teamed up with Chick-fil-A to provide 300,000 meals to vulnerable people during the coronavirus pandemic, helping to support the Los Angeles' Dream Center, a nonprofit Christian organization, to provide 11,000 meals a day to those in need in the Los Angeles area. It's a great story. I am a little curious what his motivation is. I didn't actually pick up on the fact that it was a Christian organization originally. I thought it was more of a, secular situation.
It's Kanye and Chick-fil-A. Why would it not be a Christian thing?
Because I'm not paying attention to the details this week. I apologize. Let me ask you this. They're supplying over 300,000 meals. Are those meals Chick-fil-A?
Presumably.
I don't think they are.
They're just M&M spaghetti?
When they say Chick-fil-A is teaming up, I think Chick-fil-A is just going to donate money.
They should donate chicken.
But you can donate money, deduct that cost on your taxes, and sell the chicken for a much higher profit margin. So it probably makes more sense to donate the money and invest in the chicken.
I don't honestly know that much about business or the tax codes.
Or chicken.
Oh, I know chicken, Garrett.
Well, you don't know the chicken tax code, clearly.
That's chicken business. I know chicken tastes.
In any event, Tim, I do applaud Mr. West. You could do nothing. It's certainly admirable, although I question your motives severely. Great news of the weird, Tim. That brings us to my favorite part of the episode where we announce what album we're going to be listening to for an entire week straight before we come right back. Well, these days, folks, we are still in a full lockdown, so we don't go anywhere, except for however Tim keeps getting more copies of Let's Be Alone Together to put into our alarm clock CD player. But aside from that, we'll just be here, just listening to music on headphones, staring at each other while Daredevil plays on a loop. Tim, what album are we going to be talking about next week?
We will be discussing NSYNC's 2000 album, No Strings Attached. We're finally getting that Timberlake, and we're going to get to hear what boy bands could sound like free of the monstrous clutches of Louis J. Perlman.
What do you mean? Was he not involved yet, or had he already been cut free?
The second one. That's why no strings are attached, I think.
Do you have any predictions here? How much of this album do you think you're going to know?
I don't know that I will know any of it. I'm just hoping no one tells anyone to kill themselves.
Oh, I got to imagine it's going to be way less offensive or controversial than this song was. I think I'm going to know no less than 2 songs almost in their entirety.
You do love that Timberlake.
I
love that Timberlake.
Is that why there's a poster of him above your bed?
Yes, because when you look over to make sure I'm
where you're supposed to be.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's so you'll get to see that.
Sure. Yeah. I appreciate that. Even more appreciation for the fact that you didn't even ask. You just threw that baby up there, just assumed I'd be there to enjoy it.
Listen, Garrett, I played to things I know you like. For example, you can see that he is windsurfing in that poster.
That's right. Right next to the Tom Brady windsurfing photo that you took. Allegedly. It's a dark and cryptic picture you paint. Tim, that brings us to the end of the show where we ask if you can, go out there and give us a review, really help us out, and be weird with it. We read every one of them. We're looking for the weird stuff, the deep cuts, the odd quotes, the entirely Italian sentiments, the odd German sentiments. Not sure what that's about, but we love it all, and it really does help us out. So if you can, on the old podcast app or however you're listening to it, give us the old 5 stars, throw something in there, love a good shout out, and it makes a big difference. You can also reach out to us. You can go to hatepod.com and get every episode we've ever done in every format you could possibly want, except Pandora Premium. They know why, and we're not going to budge on this. Other than that, you can get this thing on everything, even an MP3 you can download and do with what you please, and we invite you to make songs out of the words that we say to one another. New theories, we want to hear about them. You give us your thoughts. What do you like? What do you don't like? Do you agree with our theories? Do you have your own theories? Did you paint weird pictures of us and you want us to feature them on the show? We'll do that. Have you written us new theme music? We want to hear it too. So reach out. Let us know what you're thinking. You can also reach out to us by going to Album HatePod on Twitter or HatePod on Instagram. It's facebook.com/HatePod. You can also just email us at hatePodMail@gmail.com. There's also a Discord server. There's a Reddit subreddit. Tim, am I leaving anything out?
No.
For Why I Hate This Album, I have been one of your hosts, Venom.
I have been the other, Tim Richardson.
There's cowboys running through my dreams. Nothing's quite the way it seems. I joined the Navy, got kicked out in a week. My facial features aren't distinct. Try to find some meaning in these songs. The genius is a genius, got it wrong. No, it's a lobster murder sex thing. It's the bleaching of the rear. A full assault on both your ears. The riffs are too repetitive. The lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides. The cover art's a mess. Listen to it for a week. Now that week has passed. It's the Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Gary.